What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Welcome back, everybody. This is NECC Esports. My name is Infernosis, and I'm joined here by Neely. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I hope you're doing well. I was here for the last game. I'm super excited to roll into this next game versus Tennessee State University versus Fanshawe. Should be an exciting matchup, a little bit higher tier than the last one. And I've already casted lots of ETSU. They've been off to a rocky start of 0-3, but I do like their main tank player, Sponk. He has shown a lot of carry potential on this team, and he seems to be the guy to keep your eye on for ETSU.
So maybe a lot of Reinhardts to be seen, and that's something to keep an eye out for, especially on the first map we're going to be heading to today, which is in fact Oasis, if I am correct. We're going to head to Oasis. There's going to be a pretty heavy focus of brawling it out on the objective, and that's something we've seen a lot of teams recently bring to fruition. They're going to go for a lot of brawl comps of just trying to, take the opposition out as quickly as possible. They can't kill you if you kill them first kind of situation. And I definitely have something to keep an eye on. But the other team's performance, Fanshawe, they're coming through with a 3-0 victory coming into this. And so they have yet to be actually, broadcast, if I remember correctly. So this is going to be their broadcast debut, but they have definitely shown their debut previously here, beating out 3 teams back-to-back to come into this undefeated.
Yeah, no, coming out 3-0 is a great start in any league like this because a hot start can just lead to, you can kind of coast the rest of it. You shouldn't give up the grind that you're doing. You should keep screaming, keep coming to the mat and performing, but it just gives you that bit of stability in the league. You have 3 wins, probably a good map record. Now on the other side, ETSU, they kind of got to shake some nerves here. They're down 0-3. They haven't been able to come up clutch in any of these weeks. And now they're like, is it going to be another week like that? Or can we bring it to the table? We've shown some light in scrims, and hopefully we can show Fanshawe maybe a big upset here for ETSU.
Yeah, hopefully we do see, both sides fight to their best in this situation. They definitely are going to try to do it. And starting off with Control is going to be, a somewhat difficult one. Of course, it's not 2CP, which everybody despises. Actually, what's your take on 2CP here? I know you're like console, Overwatch and a big fan of it. What's your take on 2CP?
I think it's the general take that most people have. It can be a bit of a cumbersome game mode. You get to that second point, defenders seem to always keep coming out on the wrecking ball, all the kind of stall characters. So, I'm a fan of not seeing 2CP as much in these. All the game modes that we play here at NECC, I'm a huge fan of here tonight. Especially Oasis. It's one of my favorite controls. It's also probably not one of my favorite game modes, control, but I like this one because you can run some Winston, you can run some Brawl, very diverse, and it doesn't have any holes in it where you can get booped off, which is always a nightmare as a main tank.
Oh, yes, it is indeed. But one thing to keep in mind is if you do see things like Winston that you talked about coming through, it's going to have a lot of versatility for trying to remove players off of the high ground. The bubbled leap, the combination of security and aggression that they are able to output to the opposition is something to keep an eye on. But what we're seeing from both sides here is actually a very normalized tank setup for your main lane as Zarya and Reinhardt. So like you had spoken about, Spawn for the ETSU side is indeed bring the Reinhardt out as the main tank position. And followed up for their DPS line is going to be McCree, and a May is going to be switched over. I actually like this decision as well as an extra layer of aggression and annoyance to the opposition.
This is definitely one of May's strongest maps. Sketch actually going to be switching back to the Sim here. Might just be using the TP to get them out of spawn, and will switch to a fast character. Is going to be switching back to the May, and there's great chokes that they can try to take advantage of here.
The fight will immediately engage on the center objective, and it's going to be a hard-fought one. Swings will come from both sides. Mad getting in the face of the opposition with the Reaper hand cannons in tow, but it's going to be Acrio who falls first. The May wall to deny everything. As Sketch takes another in tow. Burmu will fall as well. Trev will go out. He'll find a second now on Efi, and it will be finally the last two players standing will get walled off again, and there goes the Lucio. That's Heliona who falls, and Moon who falls right after.
Yeah, the May is just going to set up so much pick potential. Herself with her gun isn't going to find that pick potential, but that May wall just sets up every engagement for this team, and it's going to set the tone for this map and forces, Acrio over here to try to bait this wall out or get his team to engage all at once to avoid the spam, speeding in early with the Reaper to try to work it out, and the Emort comes out and he's going to fall early.
Already a high noon will go out, but Burmu will fall immediately afterward, and Trev will clean up when applicable. Matt will go, a shatter will drop as well. Spunk drops the hammer down, and it'll be able to connect onto Matt and Trev. He'll try to finish off in the process. He'll take Moon in return. A swinging hammer fight between Acrio and Spunk, and it's going to go again in the favor of Spunk sides. The ETSU have won out in every engagement so far, but they did not get much use out of that initial high noon from Burmu.
Yeah, Tennessee State coming out firing here. They might be 0-3, but they have 50% right now, and Spunk has been lighting up the stage so far.
Another fight will engage Trey with a high noon out and ready, but the Maywall will block, and he's going to have to hop off of it. The Immortality Field will go off, and finally Garage Door will drop, and it's going to be an engagement. Now we finally see Fanshawe come through, winning the objective out, but it's not over yet. May Freeze will come out. They're going to go ahead and step onto this one. Shadow will connect. It only hits 2, but it's going to be cleaned up. Spunk will charge onto Trev, and the fight will continue onward. Acrio now being pushed off. Spunk will finish it, and it's going to be another regroup now, and it'll be a retake by the ETSU side.
ETSU plays that perfectly right there. They get out of the line of sight of that garage door, as you called it. They just wait it out. They give up a little bit of point percentage, only 15%, and then they're going to re-engage and use that May ult for space to walk back onto the point and take it back. They have a ton of ults in the bag, both tank ults and support ults, to hopefully shut down this Blossom and grab on the side of Fanshawe.
Oh, a fat grab indeed, and it'll be falling up. The Reaper ult will only connect onto 1, but it's still mostly ETSU in the scoreboard. Sketch will connect on top. Spunk had taken the maintain of Acro. Gouda Shadow will connect. Moon will fall, and Spunk will continue to swing crazily in the back line. Now chasing and trying to finish, but it won't even matter. ETSU win out here on round 1 with a 100 to 15% scoreline.
Like Moon got caught up reading that sign right there. He throws the grab right into it. He was so enthralled by it. But it was kind of after the Reaper ult failed, Moon, I think, was just trying to swing it back, throw in the big playmaking grab to make something happen, isn't quite able to do it. And ETSU coming out to a great start here. This is what I like to see from a team that is down 0-3. They clearly haven't given up, and they come out on a brawl map and show their best comp. From what I've seen, I believe I've watched this team the last 2 weeks play, and they do generally stick with this Reinhardt comp. Sponk is the carry.
Yeah, the underdogs in this situation, and they're definitely showing that they're not all bark. They definitely can bite. So a corner dog will bite its owner in the process. They're definitely coming out with the aggression coming forward, but a switch up in terms of tank for the Fanshawe side. It's going to be a switch off of the Reinhardt and now switching over to her Winston and Zarya mainline. So it's going to be that aggressive stance, and they're taking the high ground to try and keep a hold of it. But Trev, the Tracer main on that backside for that hits game DPS player, is going to be a thorn in the side of the opposition. Will Burmu try to deny it, or they inevitably lose it to a firefight in the very beginning?
Good play right here. They hack up the Winston and they rush off onto him, but Sponk's gonna get lasered down by Matt, and now the main tank is down for ETSU, and Fanshawe is trying to cruise right across this point. The double bubble engage onto the backline, zapping away. Acreo trying to make something happen, gets antied up and killed by the Lucio. Zach finds the opposing main tank, and this is a brawly little fight going on right here, but Fanshawe is gonna prove to be the better team in that fight.
Yeah, when you bring that Brigitte out and you play with that level of aggression, just swing the entire way away, gives really bad PTSD towards the Goats comp. You always have to fear the flail that's in her hands. It's definitely something to keep an eye on, but it's going to be a regroup that's necessary from the ETSU side. You can see Sponk hanging out with his team on the backside. They're going to rotate back around like they did in the last engagement. We'll see how this one goes for them this time.
Yeah, they're setting up on this high ground. I like this from the side of Fanshawe. They hold this high ground with the Winston. It allows him to not always engage with that Winston jump, and he kind of just pokes and prods around. Sketched finds Trev, and that's a great pick for ETSU to start it off. No flank pressure now, but Sketch is going to get found by Matt with the headshot. High Noon coming out, finds Zach, and now the Nano Winston to go in and buzz everything down.
Burmo is the only one on the ETSU side right now that's found a successful kill, as Acrio and Matt will find 2 more on top to end that fight off. It looks like Sponk and Burmau will eventually fall as well. The chase will be completed, and it's going to be a complete regroup necessary from the ETSU side. They need to get them off the high ground quicker, and they need to manage to remove the opposition to that Winston that's been such a thorn on their side and actually get the kill off on him.
Yeah, I think if you're ETSU right now, you should just go right to that jump pad, go right to the high ground, get your Ryan up there, force them to drop, and then you're able to engage them on the low ground, force them all out of there. But as they have this high ground, it's very difficult for a team that has no movement ability to get them out of there.
Yeah, we definitely see the regroup of the push coming from ETSU once again. 85% on the objective. This might just be the last stable push and a full group push for them here. Acrio will jump to the middle ground up on the top. It's already going to be Sponk stepping onto the objective. They've got it 3/4 of the way up, but there will go Acrio. He'll drop on top, and he's got the rage ready. Grab will drop, and it connects onto 2 of the players, 3 of the players for ETSU. The fight will engage. Trev with a pulse bomb will take herself and Snoozy out. Matt and Haleona will find 2 on top as well. And it's a complete one-sided round there for Fanshawe, as ETSU was unable to get any objective prowess in that round.
This is something that can be so great about Control, is you get one map, clearly favors one team. You go to the next one, clearly favors another team. And what I like about this third point, it doesn't always shake out this way, but this is kind of a hybrid between you can run the double bubble, you can run Brawl, and you can see success with both of them. On the other 2 maps, Brawl is definitely more favored on the first one. On City Center, you definitely want to go for that double bubble, and ETSU definitely got the brute end of that. But let's see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see it again. Obviously, ETSU, they haven't switched off of the hopes and prayers of that Reinhardt and Zario main line. Still sticking with the Zarya and Winston over for the Fanshawe side. So we'll have to see how that progresses. Trev and Matt still on their respective characters as well here, as I should say. But it looks like a high ground presence fight will be what's going to come from the ETSU side. They'll take the high ground and try to fight from above, especially with the fact they have that Reinhardt shield to deny any damage on their backline. The rush now from Acrio. He'll jump up top, and a sleep will hit Sponk, and and that will be a good decision maker. Acrio's shield will allow them not to shoot out, but him to shoot in. Acrio still trying to jump up top to actually get it off, but he's going to stay on the objective and get the capture point taken. He'll hop right back up in the process. Acrio just being a thorn. It's going to be Spunk who falls, however, and it's going to be a fight from down below now. The DPS from the ETSU side will finally drop down. Spunk connects on the Heliona, will take the healer out, but Matt will do just the same thing. Zach will fall, and it'll be a continued engagement. Acrio continuing to jump in the backline. Snoozy's in a tough spot, and the rage already from Winston. Acrio will connect onto Snoozy. Trev now onto Burmow, and it's going to be a high noon from Matt, who'll drop down from up top, and he'll take him out. Matt finds Spunk, and Acrio will finish off his ult as well onto random person.
Yeah, Matt just stands tall right there to Spunk. Big German man in your face, but the cowboy stands tall, lets the little high noon go off and takes him right out. But that was a great fight there from Fanshawe. Both supports go down, but once the brawl comp of ETSU loses that Lucio, everything else falls apart because they can't engage.
The fight will engage again. Like you said, you struggle to engage in these fights, but it will go in the other direction. An ult will get dropped from EFI, and they'll take the boost onto the Acrio Winston. They'll jump in already. Heliona will be the first person to get a kill in the fight. A Mayfreeze will go, which will make it a lot more harder for the Fanshawe side to actually stay alive in this one. Force them back, but it's still coming up all blue in the kill feed. Acrio is slept, but it's only a few seconds of bot time before they inevitably bounce right on top to take you out. And Spunk has switched off of the Reinhardt over to the Winston.
As well as we're talking about swaps, Sketched has now moved over to the Reaper, which I think is a really good pick. The May is solid, but you're not going to be able to freeze a Winston who's getting a bubble put onto him by the Zarya and then his own bubble. It becomes very hard to find any value with those walls when the tank can just jump in the air and completely avoid it. Now an engage from Spunk early up onto the high ground with the Reaper teleport.
A rally will come through as well. Sketch of the teleport will not matter, will fall. And it's going to be another engagement. A high noon will drop with the grab as well. Matt will find two with it, while Burmow founds one with theirs. It'll be an ult for ult trade from the McCrees, but it's going to go still in the favor of the Fanshawe side, as they're going to take that pretty single-handedly. The last one standing is going to be Sketched, who's made that switch as well over to the Tracer.
But all the ultimates used by Fanshawe, a little bit of daylight here. Snoozy's going to be trying to nano Spunk when random person puts this grab down, and hopefully they can find a team kill to try to swing this back from the depths of 99%.
It's going to be a hard-fought victory. You do still have two ults in hand. Grab, so barely important one, but it only manages to connect one, but it's onto a fairly important one. That's going to be the Zarya on the opposing side. Moon will fall. More ults will go. It'll be a boost now. It's going to go into random person this time, and they're going to find Heliona because of it, but Matt is destroying your backline. They've taken out both your healers, but it doesn't seem to matter. Burmow and Spunk will clean up, and it will be a complete retake now for the ETSU side, despite losing their healers at the beginning of the engagement.
Bonk showing off massive flexibility here. I casted him week 1, and he played Pharah for almost the entire match. In the remaining weeks, he has proven that he is actually this team, and he can play Ryan, Winston, and now Wrecking Ball, which you'd love to see. Wrecking Ball, a little bit more survivable version of Winston here.
Yes, Sketched is, in fact, the person who marked on their actual chart that they were a McCree player, and instead we're seeing it actually go in the hands of Burmow. So an interesting decision, and Burmow's definitely found success on that last push to be able to deny any of the DPS after they had initially taken your backline and gave you the chance to actually take that objective push. Acrio, who jumps in seemingly trying to get the high ground, can't do it. The boost from Ana will come through. A high noon now will come through as well. This is going to be Burmow, but they get slept in the process from up top. Phenomenal sleep right there. Trev will finish off the kill on the high ground. A slam will come through, but it's going to be Acrio who finds the kill onto Zach. A regroup now for the ETSU side, as it looks like Spunk will take a dink, and they'll fall into the underground. Matt with 2 to finish this off. Matt with another to finish this off. And it'll be the last kill that goes through with the EFI, and it will be a complete retake, round win, map win for the Fanshawe side.
Yeah, Fanshawe showing off that 3-0 record right here, bringing it into map 1, showing what they dominate on. It's clearly not going to be Brawl, so we're going to be looking to see a lot more of that Zarya Winston, and I believe ETSU is probably going to try to make this Brawl work. Big high noon here from Matt into the grab. Nobody can move. I feel like that's the fish in a barrel combo. I think that's how you'd probably label that.
I mean, a phenomenal showing right there to come up, you know, even after the ult's done, still come through and continue the engagement, finishing off the Winston at the last second there. I mean, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and how the saying goes, it's not over until it says it's over. And you have to keep that into account, and they definitely did in that situation. But the next map we'll be playing onto is, if I remember correctly, it's Eichenwald. So a very, very hard engagement in terms of this first choke point. It's going to be very difficult. But we're going to head to a short little 5-minute break between the maps. Give us a little bit of break, the casters and the players, and we'll catch you guys real quick after the short one.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
Welcome back, everybody. This is NECC Esports. Once again, I'm Infernosis, joined here by Neely, and we had a very, very fun first map over on Oasis. Of course, went into a 2-1 scoreline. Fanshawe taking map 1 and round 2 and 3, but we're going to be heading now to Eichenwald. What's your take in terms of Eichenwald for, like, a normal kind of map? What's your, opinion on it?
Well, Inferno, on Eichenwald, you kind of get the best of like 3 worlds almost. First point can maybe be good for some flying characters, a lot of aerial cover. That's what we saw in our first game here tonight on NECC. I don't know if we're going to see that as much. If you do, it might be an Echo. But point two becomes very double bubble favored. That Winston has got all kinds of room to work with. The first point's kind of flat. And then when you get to the third point, Brawl becomes very good. So if a team like Tennessee State can make it to third point, they should be able to roll right through that because they very clearly have the better Brawl right now. I believe Fanshawe has their main tank player in class. So it's going to be a little bit harder for them to maybe flex over to the Ryan. He's, a lot of players say Ryan might be easy. Just hold just hold right or left click. But if you don't play him, it's kind of some hard chops to do. And Sponk is going to wake you up early if you don't play main tank.
And we take a look at the notes for both sides, and if you look over at Sponk, main tank, their top hero is Reinhardt. And if you look over at the Fanshawe side, none of their top heroes are Reinhardt for any of the players, despite having them kind of playing a variety of roles, switching in and out of positions because of missing a player. But none of them exactly super comfortable on the Reinhardt, and that definitely showed. They couldn't hold out in round one. It was ETSU completely throughout the entirety of it, and they obviously have that better Brawl like you talked about. So something to keep in mind, they have to actually get to the third stage to actually have that Brawl come to fruition. So you spoke about Echo, and if you take a look at one of their preferred players for that side, we do see an Echo coming from Matt as one of their top heroes. In fact, it's the #1 listing there. For the bottom one was McCree, and we already saw the prowess Matt has on McCree, so imagine what they're going to be able to be capable of if we do see that Echo come through.
Yeah, Matt seemed to be probably the best DPS player in the lobby right there. Trey looked very solid on the Tracer, but Matt just seemed to always kind of get a kill on a support, open the fight, clean up the fight. High Noons always found value. He comboed it with things like Grav. So Matt seems to kind of be the carry potential, even though carry potential on this team didn't seem like that noticeable. It definitely seemed like a team effort from Fanshawe. That is what Overwatch is. Obviously, it is a team effort all around. So at the end of the day, even though they don't have a Ryan player at this stage in the meta, I think that's completely okay. There's characters like Tracer, there's characters like Echo. Winston goes great with them in the double bubble. If you just want to completely avoid that comp for 80% of Overwatch, you're going to be completely fine. So Fanshawe is still looking pretty good, even though they aren't going to have probably their main Ryan player. And especially with this map pool, you can run Winston on all three of these maps very easily because we're going to have Eichenwald and then we're going to be followed up by Route 66.
Yeah, I love Route 66. Don't even, I love Route 66. I'm really excited to get over to map 3, but I'll tell you what, as a Widow main, Widow 1 trick, actually, I should say in that scenario, Eichenwald is such a fun map for the trick shots that you can do, right? I mean, there's just no map more fun than taking the mid tower here in this first point, leaping high up, and going for a spawn pick right at the start. Now, is it useful? Maybe not. But
it's stylish. That's
it's stylish,
for sure.
and that's, give me points for style. I mean, I may be colorblind, my outfits may not ever match, but at least I look good in video games, and that's what really matters. But I'm really excited, and just for everyone here, their brains to kind of, regroup. ETSU is actually the blue side this time around, and Fanshawe is now red, a complete polar opposite of the one before. So make that, mental or I guess physical switch in your head, and we'll look forward to a very, very fun map here on Eichenwald.
Yeah, it should be a fun map indeed. And on that Widow topic, I don't think we're going to see it. There's other snipers such as Fonzo that we're already seeing here, and characters like Echo that make it very hard for a Widowmaker sometimes to survive out there. But again, any map that's good for a flying character is also good for that stylish Widow play that you were talking about, because you can grapple to, those really tall things, fly through the sky and try to be the coolest guy in Overwatch. But sadly, we're not going to have any of those cool guys, but we are going to have the double bubble once again here from Fanshawe on the attack, going for the hard engage style with the Echo Tracer.
We do see that Echo come out from Matt, the one I spoke about, and it's definitely going to be not the Farm Mercy combo, but the Echo and Mercy combination in a very swift push-in. Trev is going to take the aggressive stance forward. Matt will fall at the beginning to Murmao, the Hanzo sniper that you spoke about. They'll find the first pick, and it's going to be a very hard and very difficult fight. Murmao connects with one, but Sponk will bonk Haleona as well, and it's going to quickly become a fairly one-sided engagement now for the ETSU side to just clean up and regroup, as you're going to have to see them try to regroup on the opposition.
A great shot there from Murmao. It's very hard with this Hanzo. He shoots projectile arrows at a flying target. Also has a pocket, so you got to be very swift with the headshot, or at least with the storm arrow. So it's going to be very difficult for ETSU to find this Echo generally, but he actually finds a shot right there.
Burmau will find Trev again. The first frag has always been Burmau in each of these engagements, but he'll be taken out. It's going to be E5. They'll take out Burmau, the Hanzo, the opposition. Spalking out with a fire charge on the Moon. That's one of your main tanks in the opposition. That little supporting one to help your Winston out is going to be removed. And it's going to be a difficult fight. A sleep will now drop onto Spunk. They're going to take a quick nap and an engaging fight into the backline coming from Acrio. They'll connect and Moon will be revived to bring them back into the fight. It's looking like a good chance. Acrio will take the Luciano to Zach. And an engagement will go Mercy. Valkyrie will drop and it's going to be a continued fight and they're just going to try to clean up. Moon will be taken out once again by Spunk just to, you know, let ins be gone and just not let that revive matter. But a complete retake, a complete ending of the fight. And especially when you have Trev coming through finding the last two.
Bit of a scrappy fight here. It's still kind of going on a little bit. They're going to have to get Zach off the point, amping it up and speeding around the payload. That payload was bumping, as Lucio likes to say. But finally, Fanshawe is going to take the objective. First point is capped, and second point is going to favor their comp a lot more. First point, you kind of see they struggled a little bit to try to get in. No high grounds to dive. No real easy location for their Tracer to flank. But either way, now they're to where they really want to be.
I want to say one thing about that fight. What really gave them that initial push into that was the sleep onto Spunk, the nailed sleep dart to take him out and allow for the backline dive with Acrio to come in. It's phenomenal all around, but unfortunately Burmau will find Heliona. Your Mercy is out for the count, and Spunk also got slept again. These sleep darts coming through on Spunk are detrimental to their hold and their attempts to stay into this one, but a charge will go through, taking all the way to the back line, and once again Moon will fall to the rocket boosting projectile of Spunk, and Zach will show healers can do it too on Acrio. So another regroup situation for the Fanshawe side. They're going to need to take a step back, and they're going to need to think about how to push this one up. Their brawl comp, or the aggression they have of this dive bubble composition, would definitely be strong, but the brawl on the opposition is going to be hard inside of these, you know, archway directions.
Yeah, Green Grab comes out early, locks up 3. The Dragon's going to go into it. That's when this brawl comp kind of comes out. They copy the Baptiste to get the immortality down to save everybody. Window comes out to try to pressure down Spunk here, and Trev's going to find Sketched in the backline. Burmau finds Heliona, and now there's trades going both ways. E5 finds Burmau, and now Fanshawe marching down the way here. But Spunk's now on the cart, dealing with E5.
Oh my goodness. Like you said, there's just nothing you can't say that wasn't positive about Matt right there. Switching over to the Baptiste for the Immortality Field, saving your team entirely from that Hanzo Graviton combination. Just a phenomenal work all around. Matt, definitely the MVP and staying alive for that engagement, but already will be another engagement going forward. Bombs coming out, and it'll be Matt finding Burmau. And it'll be in first frag for this next engagement as Moon finds the second onto Sketch. The fight will continue, however, onto the bridge phase. They're forced to keep the opposition inside of their own castle. They're keeping them cooped up, as you would say, the Rapunzel stuck inside, but they're going to fight them all the way inside of the actual pulpits. They'll keep them all the way into the back line, and the only person that can stop the payload for this initial stage will be your Lucio, but a shatter will not connect, and it's going to be Spunk who has to rely on running in and swinging to find any kills, but Acrio and Matt will not let it stand. They're going to come in just swinging as hard as the Valkyrie will do everything possible to keep your team healed up, and there'll be another complete regroup as we go now to the third stage, as they were unable to hold on to this one.
Great Valk there from Heliona just to kind of keep everybody up through the shatter and the window, even though it's double damage and that fire strike does find one of your supports. You're able to keep everybody alive. Valkyrie as an ultimate is great for dive. You can go in with just about everybody. You generally pocket Matt, and that's the one time Winston, Tracer, and Zarya all kind of get the pocket, and a grab comes out early to lock him up, and Winston tries to dive in, gets booped away. He's cleaving it down. He gets his primal rage built up, but no kills are going to be found right there.
Honestly, a very shocking engagement for no kills to drop. The boop to just take Acrio a little bit more backwards was a very smart decision, but Matt's going to go in brawling, using the duplicate to the Reinhardt. Just starts swinging. A shadow will go Spunk. It's behind the tank line, and they're going to continue to try to dive, but it's going to go the other way. Snoozy and Burmau find 2, and the fight will continue onward. It's still brawling in this direction, but nothing is really connecting, but they're going to have to use the revive to get Efi back, but it's not going to matter. Burmau will find Moon, and it's a complete regroup now. You're going to have to see Fanshawe take a step back, try not to charge the ults of the opposition, and try to regroup in this engagement.
NECC State, even though they're down to the third point right now, this is where they want to be. This is the inside place they were looking for. Ryan is heavily favored. Fanshawe not going to be able to make the same kind of swaps over to a Brawl comp. Going to have to stick with this. Burmow gets cut down by the sticky nades early. Damage boosted as well.
As a huge kill at the very beginning, just around the corner, complete safety in your own little nest. A grab will go out onto the payload, and there's a Junkrat tire coming through. It's buying a little bit of time to try to find one player, and it's going to go into the back. I believe the duplicated Matt onto the fire charge that just killed Zach. It'll be still in the fight. Matt is still just absolutely destroying the side of ETSU, and Fanshawe will take it all the way to the end to take round one for a full complete with 1 minute and 37 seconds left.
Yeah, Matt is also, maybe they don't have to swap. I was saying maybe they're going to be at a disadvantage because they can't go Reinhardt. Well, when you run Echo and the other team runs Reinhardt, guess what? You're going to have a Reinhardt half the fight. So, you know, Matt is definitely, I think, progressively showing that he is probably the best player on this Fanshawe team. He's building copy extremely fast. He got that opening pick onto Burmow, who has been, I would say, the star DPS on the side of ETSU. Both him and Sketched have been doing their part, but Burmow seems to be hitting a few more shots. The Hanzo was very strong on him, but Matt just controlling the game on this Echo. So many different angles he can take on point 2, and, you know, I think Fanshawe knows it. They opt to go with the damage boost onto him for that whole round, so...
When you think of any hero that can one-handedly, single-handedly kind of carry a matchup or a round, most likely your top hero is going to be Echo. The fact they can be any hero that's currently lined up, and obviously Matt's taking that a little bit too seriously. The one-man army coming through, absolutely decimating the side, but they will not bring it now on the defense. Instead, they're going to bring a Sigma and Orisa tank line, which is very different from what we've seen so far. So we're going to keep an eye out for those gravitic fluxes and keep an eye out for the bongo drums of death to see what they're capable of.
Definitely a good comp here. Matt's got an interesting position. I don't know if you can see it on stream there. He's sliding around the roofs there, little Mary Poppins. But yeah, the big time spam from the double shield. They go for the Zenyatta instead of a Mercy. Adds just a ton more spam and is going to make it exceptionally hard for Sponk to make any kind of a transition, especially without a speed boost.
Yeah, I mean, the shields are such a nuisance. Trav will actually manage to step up and get a kill. Burmow will have to be revived back. It's going to be Zach using that resuscitate to their advantage to try to keep this push going forward. But they're struggling to get anything going because of the spam of the shields. It's just nothing really coming up for them. They've tried both directions. They're finally getting an aggressive stance, but it will be denied. Spunk will fall, and Snoozy will go right after. And the push that we saw, which was getting close, will ultimately be pushed back. Once again, they'll need to regroup and decide what to do from here on out.
Yeah, I think ETSU is going to have to opt for a Lucio here. I think they've gone to the Mercy because they were going against a Pocket Ash, or I'm sorry, a Pocket Echo. And when you have a Pocket Echo, you're like, well, maybe our hit scan needs the Pocket to kind of counteract it, maybe get the better end of the duel. But now they're not running the Echo. They kind of need a speed boost here to get anywhere that they want to go. Because if they can get to this double shield, Ryan does a great job of dealing with these two tanks. They don't want a Reinhardt up in their face, but now the random person has swapped over to the Orisa to give them a double shield variant of their own.
Ooh, Trav will find the first one, the stun kill onto Sketched, and it's going to give them advantage. Acrio finds onto the Orisa. That got switched to while Matt will clean up Burmow. Another DPS will fall. Sponk will seemingly just go to jump off the map, knows to come through, won't let the ult charge go, but it doesn't even seem to matter. Another push completely destabilized and stopped now by the Fanshawe side, able to hold their own, and now you've got an engagement that can come through. You've got Garage Door, you've got Dragon, and you've got High Noon ready to decimate the opposing side, while all they have is their two healers with their ultimates ready.
That's the thing with this comp Inferno. You build up all these ults, and you don't even have to use any to win any fights. They're going to use McCree ult to kind of zone them off, maybe try to find a quick pick and put ETSU on the reset. But they were able to win those first two fights without using a single ultimate. And now they have them all built up, and this comp doesn't get any better when they have ultimates. Dragon Strike coming out and finds 3, combos it with the pull onto the Reinhardt at the end. But Matt finding the swift 5k, a lot of headshots. Boy howdy, Matt is dominant this game.
Oh my goodness, Matt, you've made a fan of anyone that's watched and wasn't a fan of the ETSU side. You've also made quite a few enemies of anyone that was a fan of the ETSU side. good night for anyone trying to push up from there. Just not a very good chance of doing so. Trev will find a very early pick onto random person. It'll have to go revive out. They're going to go out with it. The bongos will drop from Moon, and they're going to continuously try to get that DPS output out to completely stop them in that initial funnel here for first point. This is what I said. It's difficult to hold on to it, and Sponk will not hold on long enough. Moon will get the kill, and it's going to be tank on tank violence in the very beginning stages. Another regroup's going to have to come through. Can't really take the aggressive stance without your Reinhardt.
Yeah, you really can't. This whole comp is kind of built around Ryan transitioning this slow team through everything. As we say it, Sponk is now switching over to the Wrecking Ball. I almost wish he had done this a little bit sooner. You build up a minefield and drop that inside of a bunker comp that Fanshaw's running. Maybe you could break it up, break a bunch of the resources, get Emort out, but now they have all these ultimates built up.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, especially since Sponk had Shatter available. We stunned out by Trev in the backline, and a Hanzo Dragon will come through. Sketch will connect onto E5. Sponk will get Matt, and it's going to be a good trade. The slam will come down. He'll find both healers in the process, as well as the Orisa. Not another one. Acrio will fall. Trev, last one, really standing in that engagement. They will fall eventually, and finally we're seeing the ETSU side finding success very rapidly, completely taking that fight in the other direction. And I think it was entirely led on by the fact that Sponk is such a backline force coming in from behind. You're worried about that. You saw Trev have to turn to get the stun on to try and kill, and it still didn't get the kill off onto the Hammond. And ultimately, you turn away from the front line, and that's exactly what you don't want to do.
I believe a Creo there just solo fluxed him, and I thought that would be it for Sponk, but he's able to shrug it off because Wrecking Ball is so survivable. Now Sponk's going to be looking to maybe boop them off the high ground here, try to mix it up with slams the Hanzo, kind of just poking around, trying to make this double shield comp a bit uncomfortable up here.
Yeah, the massive amount of shields that we've seen entirely from the Fanshawe side will be kept into account. Garage Door will drop on the main choke up here. A slam will come from Sponk. Did not get exactly what they anticipated, but a high noon will come, and they'll take the aggression stance again. They'll take out random person, and Acrio will take out Sketched. The minefield will drop from Sponk, but it does not find anybody. Not exactly the greatest position for it. Zach will take out the healer opposition of Haleona. She will fall, and the fight will continue, but it's basically just the last remnants of the ETSU side trying to fight it out and gain a little bit of ult charge so they can get their next push a little bit more successfully.
Funk got a bit unlucky there. It's generally a good idea to put that Wrecking Ball ult on high ground that they want to dominate. They're going to have to move. He loses a couple people in transition, and the ult isn't going to be able to find what it wants. But Supercharger coming out here early from random person.
Yeah, we'll give them the aggressive stance they need to try and step forward. It will be taken out, but unfortunately a push, it's going to be Fanshawe who takes out the opposition. 3 have now fallen off the hands of Matt and Moon. They're coming through swinging. Trev does not want to be left out. However, we'll find the Orisa of random person, and they have 3 ults, near 5 ults, as Acrio and Haleona are close as well. They will eventually have them or be able to use them for this next fight, but you've had to see random person already switch off of the Orisa, heading now to the Winston. Will it be enough to determine the next fight?
Could be, they're going to be holding on these high grounds. Now you have 2 tanks that can engage onto them, and both of these tanks are going to kind of cut through these double shields. They don't really get stomped by the double shield pressure that Fanshawe is going to be putting out. Dragon Strike gets sent out, trying to find anything, doesn't find anything, forces the early engage from random person, and he's going to get cut down early along with Sponk, and now the Supercharger to kind of cap things off here on Eichenwald. The Dragon coming back to try to counter anything on point in the high noon for the late answer, but Fanshawe coming up 2-0 here in this series, leaving ETSU with a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this. ETSU, we said that when it came to the brawl, they probably would do exceptionally well on that 3rd point. We didn't see that. We did, like I said, they have to make it there to show that, and they couldn't really make it to that stage, and it was because Matt, like with this exact kill right here, just a dominating force, just finding 5, 3 with a Dragon Strike, 2 with the bow in hand, an absolutely phenomenal showing, and it's no surprise to see Sponk up on the board at the end for the cards with 25,000 damage blocked. Just how much were they just nailing shots into the shield of that Reinhardt?
Yeah, that was a great round, honestly, from both sides. ETSU, I've casted them a few times. They never do give up. Some of these teams they go down, they're having trouble on first point. They just give up. They get full health. ETSU doesn't do that. They make the swap over to the Wrecking Ball. They nano the Wrecking Ball. They go all in on Sponk. I do believe he is the ultimate carry. And I do love seeing a great main tank player in Sponk. Burmow and Sketch both also doing their parts at different times. But when it comes to Fanshawe, I think it's just a top to bottom difference in a team. And then you've got a guy like Matt who has been lighting up the kill feed, and they combo everything great with him, like the halts there on the double shield comp.
Yeah, and I definitely think that when you think about this next map, which is going to be Route 66, which I fanboyed a little bit over earlier, which I think is a good decision. I really like this map. I think it's a very enjoyable one to do, and it's going to be fairly DPS heavy. You need to be able to take these engagements, and you need to be able to win them out. If you're mainline, if you're doing a brawly kind of composition, which we've seen the ETSU side favor, well, your DPS have to follow suit and find those picks. One of the reasons why the brawl wasn't necessarily working for the ETSU side on, the last two maps, I guess you could say, was because the DPS for the Fanshawe side were finding the first picks, and they were finding them exceptionally quickly. I mean, you saw Burmow, who was getting picks initially at the start. I mean, the Hanzo player on their defensive hold, but it just wasn't enough. Once they took out Burmow and denied the first pick of the engagement, it swept entirely in the other direction, and it's just not what you need to see. Great job by Fanshawe to find the first frags, to keep them at bay, to make it so they can't take that aggressive stance to brawl out like they want to. And it's going to be a hard decision to figure out what exactly you need to do to spice it up and get that next strategy to actually win out on map 3.
That's the thing here too, is even though it looks like Fanshawe has kind of run away with it, they've shown some dominance on both these maps. ETSU has had their shining lights here. First point, they did give Fanshawe some trouble. If they had maybe perfected that first hold defense, you see a full hold there, ETSU picks up that map. So going into Route 66, maybe this favors ETSU a little bit more. Fanshawe does run the double shield though, which is very good on this map. I don't see why Fanshawe wouldn't come out with the same style of attack with the Zenyatta, Bap, Hanzo, all that kind of stuff. When you throw that much damage in the direction of a team, it's really hard to transition your team perfectly and not find yourself getting picked off.
I mean, exceptional job from Fanshawe to bring out Sigma and Orisa. But as a Widowmaker player, I can't like you. I can't. Orisa, she has the biggest hitbox for her head. Any Widowmaker looks at that and salivates. But then they immediately remember, oh yeah, she has this shield that she can put up every 15 seconds. That's that we deal no damage to, and our team doesn't focus it. But I don't know, just maybe not talking or conversing. I don't know, but the Sigma as well. I mean, it's just those shields. It's such a struggle as a DPS player. If you're not built to destroy shields, like Hanzo can be with the Storm Arrow and things like that, if you're not built to be able to handle those shields, then you're not going to find very much success. So maybe we need to see ESTU really decide to switch up their DPS picks and kind of focus on shield destroying heroes. I mean, even a Junkrat with a good enough aim for the Junkrat, you can destroy a lot of good shields. And there's some really cheeky run around spots for Junkrat and Eichenwald to take your explosive mines and launch yourself around the map and get all the way around. There's some cheeky things you can do that we didn't see that may have been, enough to give him an earlier head start for their attacking round.
Yeah, I know I'd have to definitely agree with you on the not liking double shield as a Rhyme player. As you saw from Sponk, great Rhyme player in this league, had a lot of trouble getting in on that point. But now we should be getting taken right into Route 66 here very shortly. And we're going to have to see what they actually do.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, high grounds, lots of moving around, getting sight lines. The double shield can have a very exceptional prowess and a very exceptional showing, but the question is, can you get enough DPS around it, or will they unfortunately actually spread their shields out? Because what we saw for a lot of high ground positioning from the Fanshawe side was they'd plop a Sigma shield in front of the Orisa shield. They'd go back and forth with it and kind of rotate and switch it out to go back and forth, and we kind of picked the wrong map here. That's fine. Kind of going back and forth with it. You can actually set those side by side. You can have those with a little bit more, almost like an arrow. You are that spearhead that's at the front line that will just pincer in, deny any chance. Basically, any attacking chance will have to go to the side of you to try and get any shots off, and they're free pickings when they split up like that. So it's something you have to keep in mind, and it's definitely something that you're going to have to acknowledge here for such a difficult map like this, because you got to push the payload the whole way, and there's no stopping any chance for that high ground to be taken advantage of.
Yeah, high ground is always going to be an issue, and I'm curious to see what these teams are actually going to pick. I know double shield can be very strong on top of big earls here. That is the gas station little depot here. You know, you don't get the early hold, you don't stop the cart early. You can actually get a little touch on the cart from the high ground, but what your main point is with the double shield is you put it on high ground, you get your snipers. Maybe they move towards an ash pocket. I have a feeling they're going to go with the Zenyatta kind of a pick again, but as I said, I'm seeing a Bastion in the spawn room right now, and you know, I did
Yeah.
see it earlier on Route 66, and I'd love to see it again. Little pirate ship action. Put 2 sails on the point.
Pirate ship's such an exceptional strategy, especially when Bastion got that small rework. It wasn't really a rework, but you know, he had in his recon mode where he was a hit scan completely with 0 recoil whatsoever. The only times I really ever switch off of Widowmaker because I'm a terrible person is when there's another hero that's just more broken and has not been balanced correctly like Bastion was at that time. But obviously in a much better, more balanced position now, but can definitely still show a high level of play. If you look over now, you are definitely seeing them hold that high ground. They're going to give up this first corner initially, and they're going to fight them back above the actual station and try to get the initial engagement going for themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a wake-up call here, too, when they try to round this corner. Winston Double Bubble is good into double shields. You can engage into it strong, but when there's a Bastion, I tend to differ a little bit. But we're going to see how Fanshawe tries to take this. Right now, they're just hiding, poking around the cart. They don't even want to deal with this. That's a nightmare up there, and they're doing a great job of it. They just finesse their way right around that high ground that has Sketched placed so firmly on top of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sketch had to get up a couple too many times because the Orisa shield got placed a little bit too far back. So weren't able to get all the prowess you want, but Spock will find the first kill. Matt will fall, and the engagement will officially be done. It's gotten a little bit farther than they initially wanted, but the fight will continue. Sketch drops down from above, will just absolutely take out Acrio to finish off that kill, and it's looking like it's going to need to be a little bit of a regroup from the Fanshawe side. Trev just kind of hanging out, a little wave there from Sketch down to Trev, and it's going to be a complete one-sided attack now. Sketch, even though they're on defense, Sketch will find another 2 to finish that one off and a regroup, and they're even going to switch up their hero choices because they did not like what they saw.
Yeah, but I love how ETSU played that. They used every ounce of cart space they could before they had to get off that high ground. And when they finally did, Sketched actually took an off angle on top, took a sleep, backs off, then he drops down and lays down the heavy artillery. And when you have a Discord on those targets, they go down just that much faster.
High ground taken this time, not on top of the actual station. Instead, they're going to go on the back side up on the actual high land. And then a tank ult will come out now, and they're going to try to find success. Acrio shield will be gone. Diva trying to eat it, but won't be able to eat all of it. Acrio getting absolutely obliterated in close range. He's going to switch back to the turret form. Matt will find a kill into Burmound, denying that high ground a little bit longer, but it'll be the Sigma of random to take it in return. Trev will finally deny Sketched of getting any more kills. The Gravitic Flux will drop, slamming down Haleona. She will fall, but she did get the revive back onto Matt, who will find the return revenge kill onto random person, but it is once again coming up. It's going to look like Fanshawe will completely finish off the fight and take it all the way up to the first point.
Fanshawe makes some great swaps there. You have a Bastion. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the Hanzo. You're going to go to the Echo. Those are 2 great characters that can put a lot of spam, lots of damage onto that Bastion and take it from a lot of different angles. And then on top of that, you put Moon onto the Diva to eat that damage. It's not an amount of damage that you can eat. It's basically infinite in a matter of 2 seconds. So a lot of great, quick compositional swaps coming out from Fanshawe, and it's going to be why they're able to take that with a decent little tie bank in their hands.
Yeah, and they definitely are going to have a good advantage going into this. A Dragon Strike will drop. It's going to take the staircase. It's going to rely now on the actual Zenyatta Transcendence to keep them alive, and it will do just that. Sketched will find a kill on the Acrio. It's going to be Matt who switches over to the Bastion, but gets taken out immediately out of it, but it's not going to matter. Trev will find 1 kill, taking out the Bastion of Sketched. Burmow will find Matt in return, however, and it's going to need to be a regroup. Fanshawe, 2 players down in this fight, and it seems to be a bad situation. They lose yet another. Trev will fall to the Zenyatta.
Matt goes for the Alpha Bastion play right there to see who the better Bastion was. Sadly for Matt, he's not going to have the same tank setup that ETSU has for Sketched, but he gives it a try anyway. Maybe it was a mistake of a copy, to be completely honest. Usually you go for a character like the Sigma or the Baptiste, maybe an Ashe to throw a TNT into the enemy team. Either way, it's a great hold from ETSU right there, and they're sticking with this Bastion, even though the odds are kind of against them, but they're seeing success with it.
His sticky bomb will go off the Immortality field, basically saving the Orisa on the other side, but Matt will come through, finding 2 as Trev and E5 find another 2. Fights are going downhill, and this is going to be everything coming up red. Fanshawe getting a team kill here on the second attack, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and take the second point as well. Basically no chance for them to make it back. They're going to decide to regroup onto the third point, and it's going to be a hard-fought, kind of close-knit area. What do you think we're going to see any hero choices getting changed out here?
I think ETSU is just going to buckle down on this Bastion and ride it all the way out. They haven't swapped. They've had plenty of opportunities to, but they are winning fights. They're showing a little life. Diva Bomb coming out into the enemy team. Immortality goes down, but finds Burmout and leaves Sponk at 1 HP, trying to keep him alive, and they do. Sketched just turn it up, trying to swat the enemy team away.
Oh my goodness, Trev, who took the high ground of that entire engagement while the Diva Bomb was going off, will try to Dragon Strike, won't find any, but forces them out of their safe little nest. Sponk and Sketch will return it to his Acker, and Moon find another 2, but Random Person and Sketch will take out both Moon and Heliona, but Burmout will be the last determining factor for that push as Acrio, the Winston main himself, will fall. So now a regroup needs to come from Fanshawe, but they have plenty of time, 2 minutes and 40 seconds to get a coherent attacking push out of their side.
Even though Fanshawe's been doing a great job into this comp, I feel bad for Acreo. Winston just does not do anything into Bastion. Your dives have to be so precise, they have to be so perfect, and even when they are, you're still running into a Bastion at the end of the day, and right now he's reciting himself to just pushing this cart ever so slowly.
You do see them trying to take whatever high ground is available. Gravitic Flux will drop. It slams 2, but it does not secure a kill. Trev, however, will onto Sketch. The fight will continue as a Transcendence will drop. Bob goes out from Burmout, and the fight is going off. Trev, who's being pocketed from the Mercy behind, will force the finish onto Burmout. The Sniper v Sniper battle will go in the favor of Fanshawe as the engagement goes a Dragon Strike into the spawn. It will find it because the Immortality field, but Sponk and Snoozy will. You've lost your Echo, you've lost your Diva, and now you've lost Acrio, the Winston, and they're going to go ahead and go for the revive, this time onto Moon. The Diva will be brought back and back into the mech, but Sketched will take out Trev. You've lost another DPS. Seems to be another regroup that's necessary for them, but unfortunately for the Fanshawe side, you've got your tank. You're over there, Moon, who's kind of getting a little bit trapped and is struggling to stay alive and will eventually be forced out of mech.
Oh, this is a devastating stagger here on the Moon. They do decide to take him out. Luckily for Moon there, they might have been able to drag that out a little bit longer. It's always tough for the Diva, especially when there's nowhere to hop off the map. But going into this next fight, you're going to have Snoozy with that garage door, as Inferno likes to call it, and he's going to be popping that down right in front of the Bastion, and Acreo is not going to be having any more fun on this Winston when that comes out.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I don't think very many people have much fun facing a Bastion in the first place, especially one that's pocketed this aggressively and just so heavily favored by that double shield kind of meta, that situation. Sigma shield will be taken out. The Orisa had gotten reset, but the damage will add up eventually, forcing them kind of in a bad position. Sigma will throw his back out, but it's not going to last much longer as it eventually does take. There goes the garage door with an Orisa shield to back it up. A tank ult will come as well. It's going to be a boosted McCree, however, that tries to fight into the front. Won't be able to, and the fight will continue forward. No kill yet from the tank, none at all. A Valkyrie be popped from Heliona, and the fight continues. Sketched will fall from Travis. Moon finds another under Random Person, but the double pulse spawn from Burmout will take the back line of Trev and Efi out. Heliona will take the healer back into play with the revive, but a Diva Bomb in the back behind the actual shields will find Snoozy, and that looks like a Shaw. They have a good chance to get the DPS out. You see Efi who finds Sponk in return. Gravitic Flux coming out. Matt will die from Sketched in midair, but none other will fall. The push in its last few stages as Acreon will try to get the last few steps. Sketched will find Acreon in the process. The dive not full. The Zenyatta Pulse Transcendence will not make any matter. Trev finding Zac in the process. Sponk switching over to the Hammond will try to deny anyone from stepping onto the objective, and it looks like Fanshawe is struggling in the last few seconds. They won't be able to deny it, but they did get very far for themselves here in this push.
TSU coming out there, and really, I know it's a Bastion comp and some people kind of frown upon it, but they play it rather well. They rotate their ultimates and they make things happen. Burmout with a huge double pulse bomb onto the back line really opened everything up there. Everything looked like it was falling to pieces there for ETSU, but Burmau, the carry, comes in and puts that pulse bomb down. I believe one of them gets rezzed up, but it changes the pace of the fight, allows ETSU to get out there, uses the flux. Bastion sets up, starts shooting, shoots out the high noon from Trev. Everything you want to see there from ETSU is them not giving up that third point, and now they just need to march it down ever so slowly, use every bit of time they have, and find those 3 points.
Oh my goodness, a fight it was, and you take a look, both sides are now going to bring out the Bastion. Trev and Sketch we saw previously on Bastion is going to bring it out once again. Hanzo will come through for Matt as that extra little bit of support for the DPS. Not a bad choice as all to counter another Bastion like you had spoken about previously, but it's going to need a little bit more help now as Burmau's going to be on the Tracer. Will it be enough to catch the backline off guard? And we definitely did find a couple pulse bombs that found success in the last push.
Yeah, I mean, here's this thing. I know we've all played a little bit of comp. Sometimes there's this little bit of an agreement. You won't play Bastion, we won't play Bastion. But when one team breaks the rules of engagement, now anything's up for grabs, and both teams are onto the double shield Bastion, and it's going to be who can run the Bastion better. Bit of a silly idea. One's going to go for the damage boost onto the Bastion. The other's going to go for the extra poke with the Zenyatta. Sketched is going to be the one with the damage boost.
Oh my goodness, we're seeing it coming to play, the Widowmaker. They're going to go for the trick shot now in the backside angle, but Trev will win the Bastion battle, and Matt will win the sniper battle. Oh my goodness, that arrow connecting in the mid-air. Trick shot coming from Burmau. Sketch will be revived, brought back out, but that's going to be a hard battle now. Burmau will switch off of the Widowmaker back to the Tracer. You took my heart for a second, and now you've thrown it away. But nonetheless, it's going to be attempt to be a very successful push like you talk about, both rocking kind of that double shield kind of situation. So expectant here. Trev will win the fight again with the Bastion play, and it's looking like the Fanshawe side to just have a better hold in this one, but one player still on the payload to try and push it forward. That's going to be the Sigma of Random Person. A revive will come back on a Sketch, but it'll be immediately denied again. Matt will take that in return, a wasted resuscitation, and it's going to continue the fight. The only people really left is one healer and your 2 tanks. Burmau on the flank from behind. A Dragon Strike will come out. Trev with the tank will find 2, and it's going to be the last man standing, and they're going to try to keep this battle going. Trev is going to try to find it. Can't get it in time for the tank, but Matt will eventually finish off Burmau.
Again, the cart gets moved to the first point here of Route 66. Not quite going to close it out, but ETSU gets a bunch of the Fanshawe ultimates out, and now they're going to have to set up on another side. They're going to leave Big Earls, and they're going to go to this little wooden high ground over here, which sets up this extremely long engagement, but Sponk gets found immediately. Wasn't expecting the Bastion to be there.
Oh, a revive will have to be forced, but it's going to go into Sponk, who will die immediately again. Every revive we've seen come through has been immediately denied right after. No chance for it to have any successful fruition. And quite honestly, Fanshawe showing a level of DPS competency that we didn't exactly see from the ETSU side. This first push was very close when it initially started, but it wasn't as one-sided as we saw this one is coming out to be. Fanshawe coming out swinging with the Bastion choice. It's just looking like Trev clicks a little bit harder.
As good as ETSU did play on the defense with their Bastion, they might be regretting it now, forcing Trev's hand to pull that Bastion out, and now they're really getting the bad end of it right now. Snoozy's gonna have a window, which is gonna be really good going into Fanshawe, but Haliona's gonna have one of her own and gonna be sending it into ETSU here. It's gonna be a battle of the garage doors and the Bastions.
Oh my goodness, Haliona will find one. Healers can do it too, like you spoke about. Zach will have to force the revive, but Burmau's post-bomb will find Matt. You've lost that extra DPS support, but maybe you can have Trev carried alone. They'll go into the tank, and it's looking like the push on this backside will actually find fruitful effect. Sketch will fall. It'll be a double kill from the one tank shot. Burmau and Sketch, your DPS lineup will fall. Bongos have come through for the Fanshawe side. Will there be enough damage to survive? It's looking like it won't be. A regroup's needing to come through. Bastion of Trev will take a step back through doorways. He'll be forced back in the firefight between him and Random Person, but they do still have plenty of time. That objective has not made it past that initial corner. There's still a pretty long phase for them to have to go through with this one. Trev will go down, but a Gravitic Flux will come down as well, slamming them down. It'll be saved, but it's not going to matter. Dragon Strike will come through. Trev finds Sketch in the process. They're going to retake the high ground from above as I retreated. Gravitic Flux will now come from Acrio. It'll slam as the process, but the Bongos and Immortality Field will save their lives. Matt, Efi, and Aliona will find 3 as Burmow and Sponk are only able to get their names on the board for a little while longer. The only kill we see towards the end of that was from the 2 players of Burmow and Sponk, but it's not enough to save it, and Fanshawe has yet to lose a map, and they won't lose one today. They'll take it. Fanshawe winning out here on Route 66.
A great showing here today from Fanshawe. Not the worst one from ETSU either. They always showed signs of life on each map and each point, but they got the worst end of the bastion on Route 66. A little pirate ship's going to get cut down here by Matt. And a beautiful shot onto Burmow. I mean, that's as good as it gets on Hanzo right there. Usually the hit scan's favored, but not in that instant.
As a Widow main, it's shots like that that make me go, okay, nice shot. Just a little second of hesitation, trying to grasp what just happened to you, how astronomically you just got shot and destroyed, and just, you know, give him props is what it comes down to. I mean, to have a shot like that going against you is just, it hurts, but it's also amazing to watch. Players of that level to be able to nail shots like that, and Matt definitely did that the entire time on any player he played. Like we said, I definitely think if I'm going to name an MVP of that matchup, I would probably give it to Matt.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Inferno. If you didn't say it, I was about to say my MVP is definitely Matt. Not that Fanshawe didn't come out and show a great team performance with everything they did, but when it came down to flashy plays, big plays, and game-changing plays, Matt was at the front of all of those. So I definitely have to give it to Matt, who played the Echo and the Hanzo so superbly today.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal game to watch. Just so much fun to behold players doing to that one. Fanshawe will continue their, undefeated victory. They haven't given up a map, which is a phenomenal feat in this level of play. They haven't given up a single map. They've come through. They've now not given up a single game by byproduct of that. Unfortunately for the ETSU side, they will continue their losing streak. But from what I saw here and from what I've been able to watch in previous matchups and VODs, they're showing a level of improvement. I mean, Sponk, who you had stated previously was kind of playing DPS, far, I think is what you had stated them seeing them play before. I saw a lot of amazing potential for that Hammond pick and for the Rhine that we saw for the Brawl. So maybe more Brawl-heavy maps or situations, they can have a phenomenal showing for themselves.
Yeah, they're going to need their Kings Row week coming up here, hopefully for them, because that will be where ETSU thrives and shines, of course. I do see a lot out of this ETSU team, even though they're going to be going 0-4 here on the beginning of the season. Maybe spirits are going to be a little bit down for them, but there's sometimes you watch a game and it's an absolute roll. I don't think ETSU has ever got absolutely rolled once. They always show signs of life. They always cap points, and they always show that they understand the fundamentals of Overwatch. Sometimes they just get slightly outgamed.
That's definitely what we saw. I mean, that last point right there on Route 66, we saw a lot of engagements that went in favor of the Fanshawe side, but we also saw them go in favor of ETSU. It's just Fanshawe was able to keep 1 or 2 players alive to deny as much of the payload push as possible, which unfortunately made it so that they had that much further to have to push in, and they weren't able to make it to that first point to continue onward and gain that extra level of time, and they were unfortunately unable to get any further and not even make it to the first point. But it was a fun fight, great engagements between the both of them. It was a very enjoyable experience to watch. We'll ask Production Fest, is there an interview, a post-game interview with one of the players? All right, no post-game interview. We'll jump right into the next game when that comes. Hit it to a short little break. My name has been Infernosis. I will be doing the next game as well. Thank you very much, Neely, for joining me. I enjoyed casting with you here. Very fun time to always experience casting with new people. And I will see you guys in the next match. And Neely, you have any final words?
It's just a great game to watch, and I've had a great time through these last 2 matches, and good luck on your next one.
Good luck indeed. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next match.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.